Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. Well, the title of this video may seem a little odd, but I've been reading a few articles here recently, and it looked to me like the whole narrative surrounding, China's unique socialist system and this, that, and the other thing, especially in the context of BRICS and talking about manufacturing here in Thailand, it all kind of came together for me, and I sort of had something of an epiphany when I was sitting there saying, is this really some unique new system, or is this some, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, same kind of grift that we've seen, especially try to be perpetrated against Thailand, lo the many years I've been here. In any event, I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from the Thai Examiner, that's thaiexaminer.com. Article is titled, Chinese EV industry in Thailand faces a crisis. It is demanding an urgent hearing from the government on its promotions. Quoting directly, Chinese-owned EV manufacturers in Thailand face a crisis with a surplus of unsold cars. So they have a bunch of stuff people don't want to buy. That's basically what we're talking about here. Quoting further, they demand urgent government intervention. Why? You knew what the system was when you came down here. This is a free market system. We're not in your dangest utopia up in China. If you can't sell your product, that's your problem. Why is the government supposed to intervene in that? Again, we ain't in China. Quoting further, failure to meet production quotas could lead to hefty fines and repayment of subsidies already issued. You've already taken some money and you're not going to fulfill your end of the bargain. It's basically what it comes down to here. Quoting further, an urgent decision is required by Thai government panel chaired by the Prime Minister. Is it though? Or is it your problem? I don't see that this is the Prime Minister's problem. I don't see that it's the Thai government's problem. Quoting further, it comes as Chinese-owned EV car production firms in Thailand are facing a crisis. In short, they are faced with a glut of unsold cars, including imports from China. Well, if you didn't bring them here, again, why is this the Thai government's problem? If you would have just built the ones here and sort of let the equilibrium in the market sort of deal with itself, you wouldn't have this issue. But you brought in a bunch of cars that you can't now sell. How is this the government's problem here in Thailand? How are the taxpayers? What do they have to do with any of this? And meanwhile, you already took our money in the form of subsidies, so, quoting further, however, the firms are committed to meeting government production quotas for markets that have not transpired. Again, that's what's called a free market. It doesn't work the way you want it to because you order it to work that way. Every time I talk about China, especially communist China, I keep coming back to the old line from Walter Sobchak and the Big Lebowski. This is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules. This is not communist China. This is Thailand. We have a free enterprise system. You don't get to run to the government every time the market doesn't work the way you want it to. That's called free enterprise. You have to deal with the vicissitudes of the market. Quoting further, at the same time, failure to produce the cars will lead to demands for repayment of expensive subsidies already paid. Well, whose problem is that? And by the way, it's an expense on us, the taxpayers. You were supposed to come here and do something amazing. You didn't do it. Well, either give us the money back or do it. Quoting further, in addition to steep fines particularly for twice the import duties waived on imported vehicles currently being stored in warehouses unsold. So we gave you a break on the import duties. You bring this stuff in, nobody wants it, and now that's somehow the Thai government's problem? How is that their problem? How is that any of our problem here in Thailand? Okay, we're all good with free market dynamics, but this wasn't even a free market dynamic. These firms already accepted government subsidies to be here. They took money off Thailand. So how is this Thailand's problem in any way, shape, or form other than there's a possibility we're not going to get paid back? I don't think they're demanding some urgent meeting in order to say, hey, we're going to get you that money back. Meanwhile, and bringing up the title, when I was reading this article, I then immediately thought of an article I just recently read in the Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com. Article is titled, China Backs Thai Success in BRICS Role. Quoting directly, and for those who are unaware, BRICS, that stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. I think they've added Saudi, Egypt, a few other places. Pretty big news that BRICS is forming. Let me just dig in further. Quoting further, China's ambassador to Thailand has insisted China will support Thailand's economy. Well, really? Are you going to pay us back the money already? Yeah, I don't see how you've been supporting the economy. You took a bunch of subsidies and now you don't want to do what you're required to do. And meanwhile, the products that you said that were going to invigorate our economy and do so much magic and, all things will be great and joy will come to us all, it never happened. So how are you supporting the economy down here? Quoting further, including Thailand's hope to join membership of BRICS, a league of countries that includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Yeah, look, okay, first of all, BRICS is a new one of these supranational organizations. And I've seen a lot of people, especially in the West, and I think it's driven by like some desire to cling on to the notion that everything's going to be sweetness and light. One day we can sort of sing Kumbaya together. Supranational organizations just put the hairs on the back of my head up on end, back of my neck up on end. It just gets my hackles up. I've watched these supranational organizations and all of their solutions for all of these places. I haven't been real impressed. It's been a whole lot of, it only really seems to go one way. Meanwhile, again, it seems like it's going one way with respect to China because Thailand's already given out subsidies and is not getting what was sort of promised in return for those subsidies. But meanwhile, China's telling us they're going to support us in BRICS. The other thing about supranational organizations generally, I keep thinking of this line from the movie Fight Club where Tyler Durden is talking to the narrator, and spoiler alert, he's basically talking to himself. But he says to himself, Brad Pitt talking to Edward Norton in the movie, says, they're talking about, oh, should we get married? It's sort of this existential quest into their sort of inner meaning of being a man in the 90s, whatever. Interesting book, interesting movie. I enjoyed both, but I love the line where Tyler Durden says to the narrator, he says, we're a generation raised by women. I'm not sure another woman is the answer. Well, quite honestly, Thailand has had to deal with enough supranational organizations over the years, not to mention back during the old days of communism, the non-aligned states, the UN, now we have WEF and the BRICS, and the IMF and the World Bank and all of these other organizations. Has it really done any good for Thailand? It's probably resulted in net benefits, I could imagine, probably in discrete ways. But again, is BRICS really the answer for Thailand? I'm not sure on that. I can make the argument either way. I definitely think OECD is bad, if you can't tell from my prior videos. The only reason I'm holding out some degree of reservation with regard to BRICS is we don't quite know what it looks like. It's new. But that said, supranational organizations generally make me uneasy. Quoting further, the ambassador, Han Zi-Qiang, delivered remarks on, quote, China's economy from a new perspective. Well, how about Thailand's economy where we pay out for something, we don't get anything back? How about a new perspective on that? How about not conning us out of money and then not delivering on what you said you're going to deliver, and then also importing stuff that we didn't really need or want so that it strains the capacity of the local factories? I have to wonder, was that done purposefully? Was that done with some sort of forethought? I hesitate to say malice of forethought, but again, were there preconceived notions that went into the idea of importing all of this stuff in? Again, while being subsidized by the Thai government? Quoting further, an event held recently in Bangkok by the Thai Journalists Association and the Chinese Embassy. Just that creeps me out on a certain level. Quoting further, Mr. Han said, China has a unique socialist system which differs from Western welfare socialism or the former Soviet model. China's system integrates traditional Chinese culture and market-driven economy. You mean market-driven by coming down here, taking subsidies off the state, not delivering what you say you're going to deliver, and in fact creating a worse glut of the products that you say aren't being demanded as much as you initially thought? Are you talking about that unique kind of socialist system? You mean non-functionality in an economic sense? That sounds like a standard socialist system to me, not particularly unique. We saw with the USSR, Cuba's a day-to-day reminder of how great these unique socialist systems work. Quoting again, China's system integrates traditional Chinese culture with a market-driven economy. Again, that's Dengism. I've read about this a little bit. Dengism came in and it's sort of, in a sense, it's a bit of window dressing. It's sort of designed to look like it's one thing, but in reality, it's just, again, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Quoting further, creating a governance style that is both similar to and different from that of other nations. Governance is an interesting buzzword that I always pick up on. Again, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up when I see that governance term. Let's go over here to Investopedia, investopedia.com, for the definition of governance. A technocracy is a model of governance wherein decision makers are chosen for office based on their technical expertise and background. Again, no notion of democracy, notwithstanding the fact that we hear that all the time from the Western left, usually from the wephist sort of intern kind of speakers from the Western left. Again, what democracy are we talking about? In America, we have a constitutional republic. Here in Thailand, we have a constitutional monarchy. Where's this our democracy? Okay, leave that aside. Meanwhile, the notion of governance and the notion of technocracy, because they go hand in hand. That whole word governance was designed by the technocrats. And if you don't know what technocrats are, go look up a guy called Jacques Attali and Jacques Ellul, E-L-L-U-L is his last name. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, both of those guys talked at length about technocracy. Technique. What are we talking about technique? Techniques of manipulating the masses. This is what communism is good at. It's serfdom with clerks, and those clerks lord over all the serfs. That's the way it works in communism. Meanwhile, it doesn't really work very well at all. And as we can see here in Thailand, all of this unique socialist system, what's it resulting in? The Thai government, us, the taxpayers, having to shell out money to foreigners for something they don't deliver on. I'm not interested in socialism or communism to begin with, but whatever type of market dynamic this is, yeah, I'm good. We can do without it here in Thailand.